Todd Stater takes the Pro Labs Pole Award here at the Lakewood Speedway in Georgia, the first dirt race of the season, and his first pole award of the year. We've got two drivers making their debut in the FARC Low Dollar Series today. Tim Burkhalter starting 21st in the second Dave Hetzel car, teammate to Todd Stater, and Eric Cardona starting 26th. The track was very slick during qualifying, with several cars hitting the wall on both ends of the speedway, but especially in the uniquely shaped Turn 1. So hopefully these drivers will be a little more careful during the race. And you see the back of the grid, Harrison Belcher and David Bloom were the recipients of the two wildcard spots. And now we take you trackside for the start of the Peach State 100. Stater leads at the start, Kenny George on his outside. George lagging a little bit at the line, allowing Stater to jump clear. Washes up a bit into Turn 1. I think he just barely kissed the wall there. But Stater's going to hang on to the lead as Billy Bob Childers now comes after Kenny George for a second. Harry Essenola, car 45, sitting back there in fourth. But we're going to get a quick caution on lap 2. Truman Ellison puts himself into the wall. Allie Riggs and Archer Helms get collected. Tough break for Allie Riggs, making her first start of the season, but we've still got some stragglers coming, and the track is practically blocked. Ronnie Holter smashes into the back of Cedric Walwer. Not paying a whole lot of attention, but Harrison Belcher comes flying up around the outside and makes up a couple spots. Todd Stater checks out after the restart. Definitely seems to have one of the better cars in the early part of this race, but here comes Jim Kidd taking third from Harry Essenola, following his teammate Billy Bob Childers, and they both hit the wall. So that track is still very slick after qualifying, and this opens up the door for Packer Carroll in that bright yellow 71 car. He's going to challenge Jim Kidd for third down the backstretch, but Kidd still has some momentum. He's not giving up the spot so easily. They duel into Turn 3. Kidd washes up the track, so does Packer Carroll. Kidd hits the wall, but Carroll just barely stays off of him. Kidd is still able to keep third as they now try to chase down his teammate Billy Bob Childers. John Burr was off to a pretty good start, running 23rd last time by, but now he's got to come in for an unscheduled stop after running with Greg Gray in the 8 and Johnson Clapp in the 64. Those two running for Pearson Sweeney and M&J Racing, not off to such a good start. They got caught up in the lap 2 crash. Points leader Rick Forrest could also be running better at the moment. He's down to 20th behind Zach Webster in the 41. Bob Steffens has to make an unscheduled stop from 12th. Steffens has not been able to keep up the momentum from his second place finish at Texas World. He also crashed at Sayre a few nights ago. Riley Durbin threading the needle between Harrison Belcher, the lapped car, and Hunter Blaze, who he's battling for 12th. He now sets his sights on defending champion Chuck Johnson. Lev Azarov on the move, now challenging Packer Carroll for second, putting him in the wall off of Turn 2. I don't think Carroll's going to be too pleased about that, but in the meantime, the Power Surge America cars have fallen back a little bit, but Jim Kidd now makes the move on his teammate Billy Bob Childers using the lapped car of Harrison Belcher as a pick. Kevin Monroe up to 4th place. You see that 63 in front of the 18. And right behind these guys, you see Billy Ray Smith-Thompson in the home house colors, back in 7th. Packer Carroll's coming after Lev Azarov once again. David Bloom gets in the way, but then he kindly drifts up to the outside. Carroll moves back to second, but for how long? Azarov with the crossover off of Turn 4. Side by side down the front stretch, heading towards Turn 1, which does favor you if you're on the outside, as long as you can make it through cleanly. Azarov harder on the brakes than Carroll. They both make it through. Azarov still hanging on the inside, but Carroll should have a little more momentum off of Turn 2. Not quite enough to clear Azarov down the backstretch, so he's going to have to try again in 3 and 4. A bit of a slide from Azarov. That's going to cost him a little bit. Packer Carroll clears him and will remain in second, but Todd Stater is still checking out. But we get a debris caution about lap 27. There are a few cars running around with significant damage from the lap 2 crash and from hitting the wall, but we at the FARC Racing Network had a hard time finding what on the track prompted the officials to throw the yellow. But as the field pitted under this yellow, Kevin Monroe uses the opportunity to make a lightning-fast stop and jump out to take the lead, but coming to the restart, Monroe has a problem. He slows and pulls to the inside, but he's got cars coming from both sides. He's not going to be able to pull off the track. Look out! Truman Ellison smashes into the back of him. Harrison Belcher and teammate Johnson Clapp are collected as well. Well, the racing gods giveth and the racing gods taketh away as Monroe breaks down right after taking the lead. Truman Ellison and Johnson Clapp are going to go out of the race, but Monroe's going to get a tow back to the pits, and they're going to get that car back going. But he's going to be way off the pace. Battle for the lead coming back to the caution. Packer Carroll gets a huge run on the inside, runs up the track, squeezes Todd Stater up into the wall, not leaving him any room whatsoever. But Stater's hanging on around the outside, off of turn 4. Coming to the line, Stater is going to keep the lead by a nose. And now under caution, Carroll is going to have to come in surrendering second to make an unscheduled stop. So tough break for Packer Carroll. This is going to set him pretty deep in the field after he was charging his way through into the top 5 and then into the fight for the lead. Stater now has Zach Webster behind him on the restart, but he really overshoots the exit of 1 and smacks the wall. Webster goes by for the lead. Unfortunately for Stater, he's got a couple lapped cars behind him as a cushion, so he doesn't lose any more positions. But that was a huge hit to the right side of that car for Todd Stater. But it looks like he's going to stay out, and he's even able to catch up to the 41. Both drivers hard into turn 3. Stater gets into the side of the 41. So Stater might either have a problem or he's just very, very aggressive in trying to get that lead back. And I seriously doubt Zach Webster appreciated that. But either way, it didn't work out too well for Stater, as Webster keeps the lead for now. Defending champion Chuck Johnson coming after Jim Kidd for 4th place. Johnson qualified 3rd, but he fell back outside the top 10 after the start. But during that debris caution, he made some adjustments in the pits, and now his car has come to life again. He's back in the top 5, and definitely looking to improve on his 2nd place finish at Sayre Speedway just a few nights ago. And Jim Kidd once again challenging his teammate Billy Bob Childers, trying to use the 23 of Eric Cardona to hold up the 16. The Power Surge America cars definitely seem to be attracted to each other like magnets today. Wherever one is, the other is close by. Kidd looking to break away from his teammate as Chuck Johnson follows him on the inside, but now they have a huge gaggle of lapped cars to deal with. This could shake things up. Johnson closes in on Kidd. Once again, Eric Cardona almost gets taken out. But back up front, Todd Stater follows Zach Webster into the wall and goes around. Chuck Johnson gets caught up. And that was a nice thing for Chuck Johnson to do, help the 66 back around. But this is going to bring out the yellow once again, working lap 44. Stater and Johnson do have a little bit of damage, and Zach Webster definitely has some damage as well from smacking the wall and then getting hit by Stater. And while those guys are getting their damage repaired, Jim Kidd leapfrogs them in the pits to take the lead for himself. Chuck Johnson follows him out in 2nd place still. Jim Kidd leads on the restart. Monica Rook in the 22 is the last car on the lead lap. And it looks like Chuck Johnson is falling behind fast. So, that contact with the 66 may definitely be hurting him as Jim Kidd breaks out to the lead and clears Monica Rook, putting her back a lap down. Chuck Johnson continues to lose positions. He had a lot of bad luck in the first half of 2016. He eventually overcame that to win the championship, but hopefully that luck isn't going to resurface. And now someone who's having very good fortune today, Tim Burkhalter, has made his way up into the top 5 in his debut, carrying the flag for the Dave Hetzel team after Todd Stater's wreck. And he's not done yet as he tries to set his sights on Hunter Blaze. In fact, the battle for second on back is pretty tight as Danica Hollifield holds second right now, trying to hold off Billy Bob Childers. Danica Hollifield's been around for a couple of years, now running her first full season. Still looking for her first win, but she's not going to get it if she's going to be sliding into the wall like that. But Childers isn't really able to take advantage of that, so Hollifield's going to be holding second for the moment. Todd Stater is trying to work his way back through the field. He's coming after Riley Durbin for 10th at the moment. Kurt Walker on the 98 is a lap down. So Stater still has a pretty quick car, even after smacking the wall a few times and getting into that wreck. But as you can see in front of him, he's still got quite a bit of lapped traffic to pick through. Rick Forrest has made a bit of progress through the field since the last time we saw him. Ooh, but he smacks the wall in turn 1, becoming another victim of that corner. He gives up a spot to Zach Webster, but he was scored 6th last time by. And now David Bloom hits the wall and gets tagged by Cedric Walwer. Goes around, and that draws another caution. So that's going to bunch the field back up. And now Jim Kidd's lead isn't so safe anymore, as he's got Danica Hollifield bearing down on him after the restart. Billy Bob Childers continues to run third, so the Power Surge cars still not able to get away from each other, but Kidd washes up the track, hits the wall, so does his teammate. Here comes Danica Hollifield down the inside, trying to make a run, but Kidd gets back in the throttle and is able to hang on around the outside. So Jim Kidd's lead is safe for now, but lap 67, we get another caution. Rick Forrest hits the back of David Bloom going into turn 3, collecting Kenny George and putting them both in the wall. These two are on their way to some solid top 10 finishes. Kenny George had stayed in the top 10 all day after starting second, and Rick Forrest had worked his way up into that position from the midfield. Danica Hollifield's going to get another chance to come after Jim Kidd on the restart. She's got a very good run down the backstretch, pokes her nose out in front of him, and it looks like she's going to clear him coming into turn 3, but she washes up the track. Jim Kidd going to try the crossover on the exit of 4. We've seen that quite a few times today, but can Danica Hollifield hang on? Caution is out, and Hollifield has the lead at the line. So this is what has brought out the caution on lap 72. Kevin Monroe squeezing Kyle Pearson, a lead lap car, into the wall. David Bloom got a small piece of that, but otherwise Monroe pretty harmlessly spins down the backstretch. Hollifield trying to pull away from Jim Kidd. On the restart, they've cleared the lapped cars and are going to try to battle it out for themselves. But you see Hunter Blaze in the 17 running third, trying to clear Eric Cardona. Kenny George breaks down off of turn 2, slowing to a crawl, and that's going to be the end of his day. Meanwhile, Jim Kidd charges hard into turn 3. He slides up the track, crowding Danica Hollifield into the wall. And that's going to bring Hunter Blaze into the mix. Blaze looks to the inside, but doesn't quite have the momentum off of turn 4. And this isn't the first time we've seen this today. Remember Todd Stater and Zach Webster's battle. Jim Kidd hits the wall again. And that opens up the door for Hollifield to take the lead back. Contact. Hollifield up against the side of the 18, letting him know she did not appreciate that. But as I was saying, we've seen that a lot today where when the lead is at stake, these guys are really willing to get aggressive and shove each other around. 20 laps to go now. Hunter Blaze diving into turn 1, trying to pick off 2 at once. Hollifield hits the wall. Jim Kidd takes the lead back, but not for long as Blaze now makes contact and gets out front for himself. Jim Kidd battling back on the outside, trying to fend off the rookie for Gravity Racing. Blaze charges into turn 3. Can he make it stick? Washes up a little bit off the corner, makes some contact with Jim Kidd. That sets him back, and Hunter Blaze will take over the lead. But Jim Kidd isn't done. He makes another run on the 17 with the 25 waiting in the wings. If we don't get another caution, these could be our 3 contenders for the win. Jim Kidd is going for his 3rd victory and 2nd in a row, while Hollifield and Blaze are going for their 1st. Jim Kidd takes the lead without a problem, but for how long? He's got a couple hungry drivers behind him. Meanwhile, Stater continues his march back to the front, challenging Packer Carroll for 6th. So team owner Dave Hetzel now has both of his cars back in the top 10. Stater setting his sights on teammate Tim Burkhalter. And as they try to make their way around Eric Cardona, Carroll challenges back on the inside, but he's not quite going to get the run. But a little further ahead, it looks like Zach Webster's found a bit of speed, so it looks like we shouldn't count him out yet as he tries to catch up to Hunter Blaze. And that will be the battle for third, as we see the fight for the lead has gotten a little bit spread out. Danica Hollifield's fallen back a little bit. Hunter Blaze now challenging for second, trying to use the 666 of Marco DeBeast as a pick. He gets in the way of the 25. Hunter Blaze to second now. But Jim Kidd has checked out from the field, but no, he's got a problem. Jim Kidd has to pull into the pit lane with what looks like a flat tire. So the dominant car of the second half of this race has fallen by the wayside, blowing this race wide open. Zach Webster now on the inside of Hunter Blaze for the lead. And this battle has tightened significantly. Hunter Blaze on the inside, trying the crossover. Danica Hollifield back in third. Tim Burkhalter has now been brought up into this fight. Blaze still sticking his nose in there, but he has to back off. Being crowded on the inside of turn 1. Hollifield now around the outside of the 17, trying to fight for second. A bit of contact between them. Hollifield hanging on to second as we approach 10 laps to go. She dives it into turn 3, going for the lead. Leaning on the 41, not giving him an inch. Still crowding Webster out of the corner. They're both in the wall, and they both go around. Tim Burkhalter, nowhere to go. Your leaders have crashed, coming to 10 laps to go. Packer Carroll involved as well, smashing right into the back of the 41. There was a stopped car on the inside. That's what the yellow came out for in the first place. But then, right behind Harrison Belcher, the leaders put themselves in the wall, and they collect poor Tim Burkhalter as well, fighting for the win in his first start, only to get caught up in a silly accident. So Tim Burkhalter is going to drop out of the race, while Hunter Blaze is able to dodge the mayhem and take the lead. But Zach Webster still maintains second. But the question is, can he catch him with only 6 laps to go on this restart? If we get another caution, the race is over. So this is the fight for the win right here. And it definitely looks like Zach Webster has something for Hunter Blaze. Blaze very slow off of turn 4. Webster to the inside. But can he make it stick in one? Blaze does have the preferred line, and he is able to hang on around the outside. Webster not giving up, trying to make that inside work. But off of turn 2, Blaze has a lot of momentum, and he's going to keep the lead. Todd Stater has made his way back to third. I think he's a little too far back to make a possible run for the win, which is a shame after he dominated the first half of this race. But still, a very nice recovery for Todd Stater. Kyle Pearson has kept his nose very clean all day, with the exception of that little run-in with Kevin Monroe, and he's going to be rewarded with a possible 6th place run with just 3 laps to go now. Hunter Blaze has extended his lead, coming to 2 laps to go. But Blaze backs way down, coming into turn 1. Webster catches up, and he's gonna fly by. Stater hits the wall, trying to make a possible run. It looks like Blaze may be struck with brake issues. These drivers have been very hard on their equipment all day, so I would not be surprised. That was a huge, huge hiccup for Hunter Blaze, and now Webster is in the wall, but he's able to keep it together, coming to the white flag. Does Webster have any possible issues with his own brakes as well, as he tries to go for his first win since 2014, which was his only career win to date? Webster has a clean 1 and 2, as he's built up a big gap over the 71. Coming down the back straightaway for the final time, Webster has only a couple more corners to deal with. He's got to feel real good about this run after he struggled all through 2016. Webster washes up the track. He's in the wall once again. Here comes Hunter Blaze with a brilliant entry, and he's closed up that gap like he was the star of a bad racing movie. It's going to be a drag race down the front stretch. Blaze with the momentum, and Hunter Blaze takes his first career FARC Low Dollar Series victory with a last lap pass. Let's go on board with Hunter Blaze to show you the pass that got him the win in only his third start. Webster really washed up into turn 3 and got into the wall. Blaze got on the gas a lot quicker than Webster did, and it's clear sailing to the line. So Hunter Blaze puts Gravity Racing back in victory lane. Zach Webster has to settle for second. Todd Stater fights his way back up into third. Rick Forrest, current points leader, comes home 5th. Roy Warren was the last car to finish on the lead lap. Greg Gray, first car off the lead lap. Eric Cardona in his first start, finishing a very respectable 16th. Packer Carroll was the first car to drop out of the race after that wreck with 10 laps to go. And Allie Riggs, unfortunately, finishes last in her first start of the year. And now let's look at the point standings. Rick Forrest leads by 75 points over Zach Webster. Riley Durbin makes his way up into third place. Again, he'll be driving for 2 different teams this season, so it'll be interesting if he can put himself in championship contention while ride hopping. Hunter Blaze moves up to 6th with his victory, and now we're getting into a lot of the drivers who aren't running the full season. Alexa Lake is 24th, despite only making 1 start, the double points race at Texas World. And unfortunately, a lot of our series regulars are stuck deep in the standings thanks to some rotten luck in this early part of the season. Next week, we go short track racing once again at the Fairground Speedway in Nashville for the running of the Prism River 100. And you can catch all the action right here on the FARC Racing Network.